What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We back for another edition of Humble Dad, episode number 67, Road to 100 by end of 2021. Got a special guest with us this evening. Remember this brother when we was back in college doing our thing. I'm not going to tell you all the things that we did. You know what I'm saying? We were college students, you know. And so I remember the first time that he was with it, you know, with his wife, and they had a kid, and I began to watch how he was an incredible dude to mimic after. Little did he know, but I'm appreciative for him to spend some time with us today and talk to us about his daughters and what he got going on as a dad. And welcome none other than Mr. Leroy, Bruce Leroy. That is.
Oh man, thank you. I appreciate that. We got to clarify one thing. You said daughters. I got a daughter.
My bad. You got one daughter. My bad. I apologize. How old is she?
I just got one.
That's what's up. How old is she?
She just turned 16. Her birthday was November 10th, so she just turned 16 years old.
Wow. Okay, we're gonna get into that. So, kind of tell the people who you are and what you got going on.
Well, as Elijah mentioned, Leroy Adams. Oh man, just turned 44 years old. Been married 15 years.
Wow.
Met my wife at Stephen Austin. We currently live in Spring, Texas. Man, it's been a long time. Glad to have this opportunity with you. Glad you reached out to me. So just looking forward, man, just being able to share.
That's what's up. So we're gonna get into these questions. What do you feel like the difference between a dad and a father is?
You know, it goes back to that old saying, anybody can father a child. Anybody can be a donor to father a child, but, you know, it takes a special kind of person to be a dad, because being a dad means that you're going to be there. Being a dad means that you're going to have a presence, that you're going to be there to support, that you're going to be there to encourage. Being a father, you know, it's, you know, being at a distance. You're not constantly there. You're not readily available. But as a dad, you have that availability, and you're there to support your child through good, bad, whatever challenges that as a dad, you're there to support and protect and provide.
That's what's up. So let's go back to when you were a youngster. You know, like what was it like for you as it relates to having a father or a dad or a father figure in your life?
You know, for me, it was my dad was more of that father figure, because my dad and we didn't have a relationship for a long time. My dad and we didn't really establish a relationship probably till I was a junior in high school. And, you know, he had so there's 6 of us total. So he had a better relationship with my other siblings than he did with myself and my 2 sisters. And so probably what it took for me and my dad to have a relationship is that I came home from college. Matter of fact, our relationship probably got better when I came home from college one year. Because even in high school, it wasn't that great. But I came home from college one year, come and spend time with him, and he was ready to go to his girlfriend's house. So he walked in the closet. I walked in the closet behind him and shut the door. And we got into it. And my older sister had to come in the closet and pull me out of the closet. And from that moment, yeah, kid you not, from that moment, our relationship actually got better. We talked consistently. He actually moved to Nacogdoches for a short period of time while I was there, and he lived out there. And you know, when we had our daughter, babysitting my daughter for me from time to time. But all the way up until his passing, 5-6 years ago,
wow, that's really good.
But it took, you know, for us to have that moment in the closet, for us to where we were ultimately before his passing. But if you ask him who was the person that really helped him to shape and mold me being a dad, it was my grandfather, because he was around more so than my dad, and so I looked at him for that father figure, and so he's the one that, you know, I try to mimic myself after. They had 6 kids. So he's the one that I try to mimic myself after, and think about the things that he taught me just about being a dad.
What are some things that stand out? Can you give me like 1 or 2, maybe even 3 of those nuggets that you kind of pattern your style after?
The first one is the spirituality aspect. That is one thing that my grandfather, he was a minister, and that was one thing that he instilled in me was the spiritual aspect of it, and laying that foundation. And then the second piece would be just presence, having a presence, being there, supporting your kids through thick and thin. Because I've seen my mom go through stuff, my aunt, my uncles go through stuff, and yet as a dad, he was there. Might not have liked what was going on, but still as a dad, he was there and he provided that guidance and support that they needed. And the third thing is just the relationship piece. Having that relationship with your kids, and having those tough conversations with your kids. I look at my mom today, and she's so much like her dad that it's ridiculous, and she don't really see it, but she's so much like him.
Really?
And so, oh, absolutely. And my sister, my middle sister, is just like my mom. And so just those key components are the things that I really took away from from his parenting.
So was that about what he showed or what he said? So like, how did you get to the point of understanding those 3 points?
It was both. He showed it, but also he talked it, and you always have your kids is going to do stuff that you just don't agree with, and as a
100%.
parent, you're going to give them advice, but at the end of the day, it's up to them, for them to make their own decision. And so he showed it both ways.
So do you remember a time where he talked about, like, you made a decision that he needs to come in and talk to you about, like, the decision that you made, and you were able to learn from that particular scenario?
Oh yeah, one thing that pops in my mind. So back in those days, it was when earrings became popular.
I remember.
He always told me, what, you don't have to be a part of what the current fashion or fad is. Be your own person. And so I remember I just wanted, back then guys got one hole in their ear, so I had the one hole in my ear, and I went and got it, and he came. I was sitting on the couch, and he came home, and he hadn't seen it yet. So he looked at me, and he looked at my ear, and he's like, man, once he saw my ear, he's like, what I tell you about going with the current fashion is? What I tell you about getting an earring in your ear? And it was like, hey, that's what I wanted. We had the conversation for about 2 days.
Really?
Oh, yeah, then he finally let it go. One thing about my grandfather, if it was on his mind, he won't say it.
That's what's up.
What's going in just that night? He's gonna hear about it the next morning when you woke up.
Oh, okay. So was it similar to the Cosby episode where Theo was trying to hide his earring? Do you remember that episode at all?
Absolutely. Where he's trying to have that was me. And then when I saw my uncle, when I saw one of my uncles come with the earring again, I was like, he got an earring.
Oh, he's dry snitching.
But hey. But yeah, it was that was probably one of the the moments that really stuck in my head when you asked that question.
That's what's up. So when you get to past and out of college, and then you're ready to get married, what kind of conversation did you have with your grandfather then?
I looked at and how he treated my grandmother. My grandparents were married for 60 plus years.
Wow.
Through the good, bad. There was one moment in their marriage where they weren't together because my grandfather moved to California, and I understand the reasons why. He wanted to be closer to his mom, who was on the verge of passing away. But even through all that, through all the hardships that they had, they still remained a unit. And so because he was that minister, I went to him, and he and I had conversations, just about the responsibilities of being a husband, being a father, being a dad, and what it means to be a provider and a protector of your family. And so, just being able to watch him, move, and not just him. I looked at some of my uncles. My probably youngest uncle is who I took a lot of things from. Just about money management and being smart with money. and just being able to be sure that the things that I do are for my family.
That's what's up. I for me, my uncle was my father figure because my dad wasn't in my life. I mean, I can remember him picking us up.
Mm-hmm.
When him and my mom divorced, I remember him picking us up, but he wouldn't really spend. He spent enough time with us that I can remember that he taught us the 23rd Psalm. Right,
Mm-hmm.
I remember him teaching us that. But that was like the last of it, right?
Right.
And so everybody seems to reach, or I would say, people seem to reach out for what it is that they need. And so
Right.
if there's not a father figure there, you're going to reach out for one, either consciously or subconsciously. And for me, it was my uncle,
Right.
and he taught me how to respect people, but he also talked about standing on what it is that you saying. Right.
Right.
He also talked about like if you do not uh, and my daughter, my 3-year-old, she does this once every episode. All right. So what is it,
Yeah,
Jordan?
you did.
All right. Hey, can you go put that in the kitchen? Daddy's on the call. Okay. I'll do it by yourself. Okay. I'll let you do it. Kid you not. Go ahead and get her, G. You just have to pick her up and take her. She just wanted to be in here. And so my oldest had to come get her.
Yeah.
Because they know, so I let them know that I'm gonna be in, and so G gotta watch it. But if Jordy, she runs, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so he also talked to me about don't if somebody does something to you, they've shown you who they are,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so you need to make sure that you put yourself around some solid people, you know.
And
And
that's
so yeah,
that's one of the lessons right now that we're trying to teach our daughters is that when people do certain things and say some certain things, they're showing you your true colors and they're
yeah.
showing you who they really are. Now it's up for you to recognize that and see that. But that's a lesson that we're really trying to teach her right now.
And so how do you teach that? Seeing as though kids are more about um, what are you doing and trying to follow like what you do, because that's a good one, right? You telling the kid you need to make sure you hang out with the right people,
Right.
but how do they learn that through you as a parent? Is it through, because that I think that's going to be a challenge for me as well.
Well, I think one, we try to let her make her own mistakes because
Oh, okay.
all we can do is advise. All we can do is say, "Hey, don't hang around this person." But if she makes a decision to do it anyway, then guess what? She's going to have to learn her own life lesson. Um,
Okay.
one of the things that we try to get her to understand is like, look at mommy and daddy. We don't have a whole group of friends. We don't have this whole you know circle of friends that we have to hang around. We have
Okay.
very few because the more friends that you have, the messier things can get. So we just try to allow her and provide her that guidance and advice, but ultimately allow her to make her own decision. And I can say for the most part, she's seen it, and she'll come home and say, you know what, I'm not going to hang around so and so anymore because they did this or they did that, and I'm just not trying to get caught up in that. So
Mm,
you can only give them the advice, and you can only give them your own personal experiences, and just hope that at a young mind they're able to understand it. They may not see it right then and there, but hopefully they eventually something will go off in their head and they'll see it.
what age was that when y'all began to do that?
We started when she was in middle school, so she's a sophomore right
Okay.
now, and so it started with her in middle school because once she
Okay.
really got in middle school, that's where she really started seeing and uh, people do crazy stuff and kids do different things that she knows she ain't supposed to do.
Yeah. Mean Girls is real. Yeah.
Yeah,
Me,
yeah,
mean Girls is real. Yeah, I taught middle
absolutely.
school for 11 years, so I'm totally aware of what takes place for sure in middle school.
Yeah, oh yeah,
For
yeah.
sure.
And
So how had
her mom comes home. Her mom is a high school principal. She taught
oh, okay.
She was the principal of a ninth grade center, and now she's the principal of 10 through 12. And so even her mom comes home, and she's in two different districts. Where Erin goes to school at, it's in Klein, it's in the suburb, but my wife is she's in the hood, and so she comes home and she shares with Erin like this is what happens at my school. And I say, you want to go to mama's school? No, I'm good. I'm gonna stay right here where I'm at. But it's sharing those life experiences with her for her to really see, look, there's some kids that don't have what you have, and so you have to make the smart decisions and right decisions right now because you see what other folks kids are doing.
Make the right decision right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good slogan right there. Make the right decision right now. That's good.
Right.
So tell me, take me back when your daughter was born. Well, before that, take me back when you found out that you were about to have a baby. What was your thought process then?
Well, I told my wife several times that she was pregnant. She didn't believe me, and I think she went through like 7 pregnancy tests. We went to a friend's house, and she took more pregnancy tests. But finally, I think for her, the biggest fear was actually telling her dad that she was pregnant. But when she told him, he was like, "You're a grown woman. You do what you got to do." But man, I tell you, it's nothing like being there and you watch your child be born, and make you realize, like, man, it's no longer about me. It's about someone else. And ensuring that you're everything that you do, you're doing it for the benefit of that person.
It's crazy. Daddy. Hold on, lady. Daddy, huh? I am gonna play with you when I finish. Okay. Yeah. Hey, parenting.
Yeah.
So I mean, Jen usually has her, right? So it's a transition of her knowing that like her brother and sister can't whoop her,
right?
And so
I bet they want to.
Huh?
I said, I bet they want to.
Oh yeah, G for sure. For sure. Joshua, he picks her up and he'll take her. That's my 10-year-old. But he want to make sure he don't hurt her.
Right.
So that's what he was doing right then, trying to pick her up, but without trying to hurt her. So yeah, I think, were you saying something?
Yeah. So you was asking me about when my daughter was born. Man, I just tell you, it's a heartwarming thing. And I remember when she was born and they was cleaning her up. I walked out the delivery room and the first person I called was my mom. And I was in tears and I was like, "Mom, she's here. She's beautiful." And it just at that age, so I was 20 something, and at that age, it just caused you to put life in perspective. And realize that what I can no longer do. I got to live for this little person that I helped create it. And for me, it was, I wanted to be a dad that was different than how my dad was with me. So, that's been my ultimate goal, even as she's grown up, is just to be, and give her the things that I didn't receive from my own dad. I love my dad. But make sure that she receives some things from me as her dad that I didn't receive. And so, man, she's my everything. For me, no matter what type of day I have at work, when I come home or come off the road and, I have a conversation with her, I go up in her room every single night, and I'll lay in her bed and her and I will talk, or I'll try to get on her TikTok videos, whatever she's doing, or be nosy to see who she on the phone with. But that's my decompression time, just to sit there and ask her about her day. And I go upstairs every single night and give her a kiss even when I know she's already asleep. So it's
That's
just
what's up.
been, yeah, it's been a beautiful thing just to watch and see her grow.
Yeah. So do you so as she's grown, what are some of the moments where you're just like, okay, this is a tough like moment of a parent, and how did you, um, I guess, address whatever that may have been as a behavior, um, and then what did you see come of your parenting style? Does that make sense?
It does. So the one thing I
Okay.
can think about that comes to mind is when she was in elementary school. I want to say I think she was at probably maybe the fourth grade. She was in class and she was taking a pencil. He was poking herself with the pencil.
Mm.
Well, another student went and reported her that she made the comment that every now and then she likes to cut on herself.
Oh
And so
wow.
I'm driving to go meet a customer, then I get a phone call from the school saying, "Hey, we need you to come up here. We need to talk to your daughter." So we get up there. I talk to her on the phone, and she tell me what's going on. And so I get up there and I talk and to the counselor, to the AP, and I'm talking to my daughter, and
Mm.
I was disappointed. For me as a dad at that moment, I was really disappointed
Yeah.
because it's like that's not how we're raising you. At what point did you decide that you tell somebody that you like to cut on yourself? And I
Mm.
mean, it was a whole intervention. I took her out of school. When her mom got home, my mother-in-law was here at the same time. It was like a whole intervention. And we sat
Wow.
at the table and we talked through it. And for me as a parent, it's all about patience and not immediately
That's
jumping
good.
to conclusions, but having patience, having the conversation, talking. I think in your previous podcast, I chimed in when y'all was just talking about communication. That's the biggest thing between a parent and a child is having communication, having that
One
open
hundred percent.
communication. And the one thing with my daughter is that we tell her, don't be afraid to come and talk to us about anything. You might not like what you're gonna say.
Right.
It's almost like we have an open door policy. You can come and
Okay.
talk about anything, uh, but you may not like our response, but you have that
Yeah.
ability to come and talk to us because our,
Mm.
our our job is to provide that guidance and that advice to help steer you in the wrong direction. So for me, there was patience, having that patience,
Mm.
and having the patience to understand even when we don't want to, but having the patience to understand.
It seems like you from afar. I may be wrong, but it seems like you've always had some type of a laid back type of I guess style, if you will, or mantra, if you will. So when you say patience, is that something that you have to learn, or is that something that you already kind of had?
For me, I already kind of have it
Okay.
simply because it takes a lot to get me mad and get me upset, even with her. And they know when I'm upset, I start cussing. And my wife,
Okay.
and my wife tell me all the time, like, "Don't cuss. You don't sound right cussing." So
What?
they know when I'm upset, I start cussing. Uh,
That is hilarious.
it takes a lot to get me there.
Okay.
If there's one thing that my daughter does that really gets me there is when you talking to her and then she looking at you like you got crap on your face.
Oh man.
She like, stop talking to me. And that just she knows when she does it just drives me there. Now it takes a lot. It takes a lot for me to put my hands on her, but I'll snatch her by a shirt.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's having that patience is it's something that's just always been there with me, and I've
Yeah.
learned to have it a little bit more with her. And except when she give you that look, and then it'd be like, okay, that's what we want to do right now. So
Have you
yeah.
had the one where they have you had
Mhm.
that one?
Oh yeah,
Bruh. Bruh.
yeah.
Had it recently as yesterday.
Hmm.
I was asking Gianna to do something. Or we was talking about something. And I'm cool with you. I understand you're gonna disagree.
Right.
That's a thing. And she's gotten better because she usually try to talk back, right? That was like a couple years ago.
Hmm.
and I said I said yesterday when she did that, I said, That's disrespectful. Don't ever do that again. Just like this, and especially to your father.
Right.
You can be frustrated,
Yep.
but you need to do something different.
Right. You ready to turn
Because
that energy somewhere else?
yeah, because that's not what you gonna that's not
Yeah.
gonna end well. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So
Yeah. That's a
because
losing battle.
it's it's
So, yep. You gonna lose that battle.
absolutely. So that patience thing. I learned that I needed to uh make sure it probably came from teaching
Mm-hmm.
middle schoolers and not being able to put my hands on them. So I had to figure out different tools to use to communicate
Right.
that I was upset, I was disappointed in them, and then how can we move forward from this situation? And I'm not holding grudges
Right.
against you because you made a mistake, right? And so that I think teaching helped me with me being a dad, and so I was able to all of them kind of
Right.
take my time with them. Now but that was like when they got to be 4 and 5 and 6. Now when they was 2 and 3, like bro, like the 3-year-old, like
Right.
she thinks she run this place, man. You
Oh yeah.
know, so just trying to get to the point of uh the good thing is that I've had patience with them enough to be able to be patient with her
Right.
because she is that much different than they were when she was 3. So when you now at the point of being a dad of a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
what have you, I guess, learned, not necessarily learned, but you can say learned, what have you noticed about her as a teenager from when you were a teenager?
Man, so the difference is back when I was a teenager, there was no cell phone, no social media. There was none of
Yeah, that's true.
that. Excuse me. So man, I just watch her come into her own, and just becoming a young lady, and realizing that she's no longer my little girl, although she's always gonna be my little princess. But
Mm,
just watching her come into her own, and everything now is just about social media. Uh, if you let her, she'll stay in the room all day long and just be on her phone.
mm,
But just man, just watching her and how she's just changing. And then I look at her pictures from when she was a baby, when I had her in my hand, all the way up to where she is right now. And just like, man, just the change, the growth, the just her overall growth and how she's becoming. Man, I'm
mm,
actually looking forward and excited to see, where the future takes her, because
mm.
she has so much potential in her. And your parents getting your child to understand and see that potential that you see, to see that
Yeah.
potential that other people see in her, and because quite often she's like, well, why do they want me to do that? Well, baby, there's something that they see in you that you don't see in yourself. Um,
Yeah.
so man, it's just for me, just her turning 16 and just realizing where she was just a year ago, to where she is right now, and how much she's just evolving as a young lady.
How different is it from 15 and 16 in your estimation?
Not much.
No.
No, she was
So
already,
when
she was already 15, going on 30 anyway. I mean, so
oh
it's more different now. Now from 15 to 16, it's, hey, when you gonna take me driving? I'm ready. I'm ready to get my license. That's where we are right now.
okay. So is that about to happen pretty soon?
We've started driving a little bit. I actually kind of started her a little bit early,
Okay.
probably right around when she was 15. And so now that she's 16, she's even more eager because our neighbor's daughter, she got a car for Christmas last year, and so she just completed all of her driving uh, courses. So there's this course online that you can enroll them in now, and they can kind of self pace themselves,
Mm,
get driving courses, do all that stuff, and then you as the parent, you're the instructor, so you have to
okay.
apply for an instructor license, and so uh, maybe by the probably by the springtime she'll be ready. which
Okay.
which would benefit me because then when her mama say, "Babe, can you go to the store?" I'm be like, "Ariel, go to the store." So it's a benefit me.
That's what's up. Hey, listen, I that's what I had told G the other day because she has these she has a she likes to buy her these chips
Mm-hmm.
once a week or something, the fire Cheetos or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta take her. I'm like, man, just to you want me to go to the store just to get some chips? You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? You don't want no other stuff. You just want chips. And so I'm like, I have to go up there or take her. I'm like, man, I can't. I wish you could just drive, or at least ride your bike or something,
There you go.
to go to go get
Hey,
them.
hey, that bike worked wonders. We always had to ride that bike whenever we wanted to go somewhere,
You know what I'm saying? Hey, so
or you had to use Tom and Jerry to get there.
hey, I'm saying that's probably what I need to start doing. Have her go with her brothers and her brother and her two brothers up there. That would
Yeah, there.
be, because
Yeah.
they don't like to work out either. You just
Help.
gave me one.
Yep. Help
You
them get
just
them
gave
steps.
me. You just gave me one, bro. That's on the docket. That is on the docket, and I'm gonna let them know who told me.
There.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
That's what's
absolutely.
up. So
Tell them
as
they,
you,
tell them they can call me. Tell them they can call me.
oh, this, I wish. That's what's up. So when you getting into this mode of being a dad, so and having to plan for the future, as you were saying, it's been this
Mhm.
conversation about there's not any good women out there. I don't know if you heard this conversation going about, women are not ready or whatever, or men are not ready, you know. So it got me and Jen thinking a long time ago about when we was I think we had heard Kirk Cameron talk about this, that you are
Mhm.
parenting somebody's husband, somebody's wife,
Right.
right? And so, how have you all, or what have you all done to prepare your daughter for being a wife or being married?
Well, first of all, I've done nothing to prepare her.
You say
My
you've
biggest,
done nothing.
I've done nothing. But
Okay.
we've actually, so we just her and I, we were just having this conversation yesterday, and what I told her is first establish yourself. Um,
Okay.
put yourself in a position where you have your own house, your own car, your own money, and that you have the career that you want to. Because for me, it's I don't want you to feel like you have to have a man to have all these things. Because if you have these things first yourself, then as a man, he has to figure out what can he offer you besides physical interaction.
Hmm.
And so for her, I want her to establish herself and get her own and have her own. And then make sure that he has his own. And then if y'all decide that, you know what, y'all are going to be together, then together y'all can create other stuff. But
Hmm.
have your own. Be successful in your own right. That way you don't have to depend on a man for anything. And
Hmm.
that's the thing that I want her to learn, and I want her to understand is you need to establish your own first. And then whoever you decide to be with later on in life, they need to figure out, man, well, she got a house, she got a car, she got a good job, she got her own money. What is it that I can add to her? What is it
Hmm.
that I can bring to the table? And not, to further enhance what she already has. That's the biggest lesson that I want her to learn. Because I tell her all the time, on the movie Den of Thieves with 50 Cent, when the little boy come and pick his daughter up for a date, and he pull off into the garage, and all of 50 Cent's friends are there. I
I haven't
told her
seen that.
you had to look at it. There's a scene where this young kid comes to take his daughter on a date, and so he pulls the dude in the garage, and in the garage is a bunch of his homeboys. And he said, you know what, for the past 16 years, I've had to, her life and protection has been in my hands. And for the first time in my life, I have to put that in your hands. Make sure you take care of her. And I tell my daughter
Hmm.
all the time, when your first date comes to the house, that's what's gonna happen. That's the scene that's gonna play out when he comes to the door and he's ready to come and take you on a date. garage, it's gonna be a bunch of your uncles or your play uncles, a bunch of everybody in the garage, and that's gonna be the scene that's gonna play out. And so, man, that's what I want for her. I want her to be where she desires to be before she thinks about marriage. I mean, she can date things, but before you think about marriage, make sure that you're established in where you want to be, and don't try to, have a man that need to add all these things to you. Have those things.
How did she respond to you when you told her that's going to be the scene?
She started laughing. She was like, "Whatever, Dad." I was like, "All right, you think I'm kidding?" Her grandpa already said he gonna cut him.
You. he gonna.
No, she don't believe me. She should know better. She should know better.
That's funny. Okay. So your grandfather said he gonna cut the dude?
Her grandfather. I always tell her, I always say that because he tells her saying, "Don't be worried about no little boys right now. Worry about education and finishing your education." And then he'd be like, "It's all right, I'm bring my knife. I'm gonna come over there, I'm gonna cut him."
I see. Yeah. He's about to run every one of them away.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Me and him gonna do it together.
Man. I remember. That's funny. Do you remember that? I remember the scene that happened in Bad Boys when I think it was Martin who had a daughter, obviously, and
that one too. Yeah.
You remember that scene?
I remember that one. Yeah.
Did you hear the background of that scene? Okay, the background of the scene was that the dude that was hired to be the boyfriend, Martin was on set, and the young dude tried to speak to Martin, right? And so Martin didn't speak to him. Like he said, "I just wanted him to think that I ain't like him," right? Before we did the scene, right? And so this young dude, when that was like fear for real. When he saw Martin come to the door, because he thought that Martin didn't like him anyway, and he was just exercising that opportunity in the scene. And dude, so he had a real fear. He didn't have to act that one out.
Oh, that was perfect. That was perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, between those two scenes, between the one at Den of Thieves and the one you just talked about, one of those two scenes are gonna happen in my house.
Hey, listen, I understand. It may go down in mine too. I may make mine a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't even know what they look like, but I'm definitely gonna plan for it. That's what's up. So now that you are teen dad, if you will, and you're talking to her about these life, situations, what do you think that she will look for in a husband?
So she's already told me. She told me, oh man, probably about a year ago. She's like, "Dad, you're gonna make it hard for any man that I date." And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Because of the things that I do, the things that I do for her mom, and not just her mom, even my sister-in-law. It's because, by nature, I just it's that care mentality for me, and it's that protector mentality, and so." She for sure is going to look for someone that has the same characteristics that I have, as I treat her, for how I treat her mom, and not, even though her auntie get on my nerves, for how I treat her too. I said, I told her, I said, the one thing that you're going to struggle with is that you better find a husband that like to clean, because you don't like to clean. You better find a husband that like to clean. That's going to have to be one of your prerequisites. You don't like to clean, and you better find a husband that like to clean. But yeah, I think she's definitely gonna find and look for someone that that is similar to me.
Yeah, that makes sense though. I mean, I think not that I think, I know that that's really what goes on when women look at men. They tend to see or choose somebody that's like their dad, oftentimes than not, right? And so it's important, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the podcast, to let so dudes could be listening in and understand their role is a major difference in being absent than present, because if your sons are not able to see how you treat their mother, it's very challenging once you go into a relationship, you know.
Right.
And so that was something that me and Jen talked about regularly, about how do we communicate to them how a marriage should work, you know. And one of those
Right.
things we tried to do was not argue in front of them, which is such a challenge, you know, because as married
Right.
people
It is.
we get bothered. Hey, let's take this to the room. You know what I'm saying? It's,
Yep.
yeah. You know what I'm
And
saying?
that's
So
that is a challenge. And one thing I can say from when she was little, that's the one thing that she don't like. She do not like to hear her parents argue. And the first thing she'll always say is,
you broke up.
"Y'all
All
can't get
right.
no divorce." She's like, "Y'all better
Hold
work it
on.
out."
You broke up. I can hear you, but you had broke up. All right, there you go. Say it again.
You got me?
I got you now. Yeah, I got you
Yeah, I
now.
was saying one thing since she was little is that she hated to hear us argue. Even to this day, she doesn't like to hear us argue, and she'll always say, "Y'all not getting no divorce. Y'all better figure it out and work it out." But divorce is not an option.
She told y'all that?
Yeah, yeah,
Wow,
because
that's awesome, man.
she doesn't seen too many of her friends and a few of her friends go through divorce. And for her, she's just like, that's not something that she wants to see nor experience, and have her own parents go through that. And
Yeah,
so she, since she was a baby, she hated hearers arguing. And you, like you said, you try not to do it, but it's
it's
like
hard.
sometimes it gets hard.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm not going to say sometimes. Like if it's it was it was hard for me all the time. So what I tried to do is just not yell or something, or whisper, you know.
Mhm.
Hey, but I totally understand, because that's the same thing with our kids. Like they didn't like to hear us argue, because to them they felt like we were upset at each other, which we probably were. But at the end of the day, could you see how we made up? Could you see that mommy and daddy are still rocking with each other, even though we had a disagreement? You know, and that was one of the things that was said by one of my kids is you know I don't want to see y'all get a divorce, because I would feel like you lied to me.
Right.
That's what they said, because you all said that marriage is forever. Is what you said, and that's the biblical principle that you set forward. So if you did that, I would definitely feel like y'all were liars, and I wouldn't trust y'all. I was like, see, more people need to talk to their kids, man.
Well,
Yeah.
on the same line with that, it's marriage is supposed to be forever. But the other thing that we told her is that you know, sometimes things just don't work out. And the one
Hmm.
thing we said is, you know what? Whenever you do get to that point and you get married, it's not working out. Don't stay together just for the sake of staying together for the kids, because you're not doing nothing but creating misery for both of y'all. If you've
Hmm.
done the work and you've done everything that you could possibly have done to try to make it work, then if it's just not there, then okay. But you got to first try to make everything work, um, and view the work in order to make the marriage survive.
Hmm. Okay, that's
Because
what's up.
if you think about it, a lot of people, yeah, everybody I think has a desire and the thought that I want my marriage to last for forever, right?
Hmm.
But then a lot of people don't want to take the time to do the work to ensure that it lasts forever. And by doing the work, that means whether you got to go to visit a counselor or see a marriage counselor or whatever that may be. A lot of people don't want to do the work, so they end up staying together just because. And in that process of staying together just because, for the sake of the kids, you do your thing, she do her thing, and now we're a relationship just ain't working at all. Now you just created it even more worse
Hmm.
because nobody's doing the work and everybody's doing their own thing. And I
Hmm.
think it's important that for our kids that we teach them like if you truly want it, then you got to be. There's going to be some work that has to be done. If you're not willing to put in that work, then don't waste your time. Don't waste their time.
Hmm. That's a pretty interesting perspective. We're gonna get into these questions because I value your time.
No, you're
Give
good.
me a number between 1 and 45.
1 to 45. I'm gonna say 5.
If you went back to high school, what would you do differently?
Study harder.
Why?
Yeah, no, because I look at, I think for me in high school, I probably did enough just to get by. I
Okay.
did enough just, I probably didn't put all the work that I could have put in academically. And that's
Okay.
one thing we tell our daughter right now. The things that you do right now in your high school years is going to prepare you for your college years.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to set yourself up for success right now. And I can't say nobody really told me that when I was coming up through high school. And so even when I got to college, kind of still follow that mindset, just doing enough just to get by. And so if I had the chance to go back and do it all over again, I would do it all over again. And I would put in I would work that much more hard.
That's what's up. All right. What's your next number?
21.
What was your favorite thing about your parents?
My favorite thing about my parents, uh, my mother's honesty. She didn't
Okay.
really try to sugarcoat anything.
Okay. Yeah.
And she was always honest with me to the best of her ability. Like I said, with my dad, I can't say, I have very few fond memories of my dad.
Okay.
Um, and there's not one thing I can think of about him, but yeah.
That's okay. So so your mom is honest. Do you feel like that's a trait you picked up?
Yeah, so, and,
You
there's
said
every
yes
now
and
and
no.
then, yes and no, every now and then there's a little white lie that may come off in there, but, they always tell me all the time, like, Dad, you can't lie. When you lie, you start smiling, and
Oh man.
you don't even look right. So
You don't
yeah,
so
but
you don't look right lying and you don't look right cussing. So they're just saying that you don't look right doing things wrong.
and it's pretty
So
much.
you got telltale signs. All right.
Yep.
What's your last number?
44.
Have you ever broken the law by mistake?
Have I ever broken a law by mistake?
Yeah.
Probably when I was little, I stole some candy.
You did
Matter of
too?
fact, it was candy. My sister, my middle, it was candy and fingernail polish. It was back in. I don't know if you remember. It was back when they had Eckert's Pharmacy
Yeah.
before they
Oh
became
yeah.
CVS Walgreens. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Eckert's Pharmacy. It was
Oh,
the
okay.
apartment complex, and there was Eckert's right behind our. Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
So you thought that you was not stealing? Is that what you
Well, I knew
thought?
I was stealing because I didn't pay for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
got
knew I
you.
was stealing because I didn't.
That's what's up. All right. Well, I appreciate you answering the questions. And all those that are tuning in, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Hey, this has been good, bro. I got two more questions. The second to last question is: which TV dad would you say?
Absolutely.
Which TV dad would you say? You're breaking up a little bit. Let me go here. You pause right now.
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay. All right, cool. Well, you had pause on this side. So yeah. So
Can you
you
hear
had
me?
froze. I can hear you. Yes, had froze. So it should be okay for now. Hopefully it'll come back into view. Let's see. So, which TV dad would you say that you resemble the most?
I can hear you.
Character. Okay. Which TV dad do you say that you?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Let's see. Okay.
Man,
Technology. All right. So we're gonna wait for Leroy to come back. I'm gonna ask him these questions, and technology happens, and so we have to kind of work around it. You know. So I think what would be interesting is if somebody interviewed me. That'd be cool. I think. All right, there we go. Can you hear me?
which TV?
Yeah. Which TV dad would you say you have similar
Man,
characteristics with?
I'm gonna say I'm more like Uncle Phil.
Okay.
Uncle Phil. I
Is
have
that
my moments when it's serious, conversation, and but then have my moments where it's laughter and humor. So I don't, even when I know my daughter and I done made her mad, she know I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna tease her and I'm gonna mess with her and try to help and get her mind off of whatever she's mad at me about. So I say I'm more like Uncle Phil.
I thought you were gonna say because y'all have you light skin and have beards, but I guess
No,
that ain't.
no, you got a little more gray than I mean.
Oh yeah, that's
I got some hairs off in there, but his was a little bit more gray than mine.
that's true. That's what's up. And the last question is, how would you like for your daughter to remember you? What would you want her to say about you?
Um, that what my presence was there. That I encouraged her. That I did everything that I could to show her, or as I always tell her, give her the guy perspective. But in saying all that, just that what I was there. Even so I typically am on the road 3 weeks a month, 3 weeks out the
Oh
month.
wow.
And so she's on the high school dance team for her high school, and so obviously football season, Thursday night games. My goal is to always just be there, and let her know that I'm there to support no matter what you do. That I'm there to support. So hopefully she sees that and she recognizes that.
That's what's up, man. Well, I definitely appreciate the time, Mr. Leroy. This has been really good to get to know you as a dad. And you have the final words, bro. What would you like to say to the people?
Man, first of all, I'm just gonna say to you, man, I appreciate you doing this. Appreciate you just reaching out and creating a podcast, just to talk about dads and 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 the challenges that we face as dads, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But just taking the time to talk to some guys that's really involved in their kids' life. So I think you're doing a great thing. I appreciate you sending out the invite and allow me to be a part of it. And if I say anything to any dad out there, and just have a presence in your kid's life, I think a presence goes a long way, and encourage them through the good, the bad, or the ugly. Presence and encouragement, I think, are what our youth need today.
That's what's up. Well, appreciate your time, man. We out of here. Until next time. Deuces.
Appreciate it.